England captain Joe Root needs to step up and bat with the best at number 3. His side has one huge flaw. It lacks a high-class international batsman in the most important position in a Test match 11, number 3, the chap who goes in first wicket down. They experimented with a couple of players this summer in the series against South Africa and the West Indies, the experienced Gary Ballance and the rookie Tom Westley. Both men failed to cut the mustard, which leaves England with a humongous headache ahead of selection later this month for the Ashes tour this winter. Do they place unwarranted faith in either Ballance or Westley for the toughest and the most important Test series that England ever play? Do they gamble on picking yet another newcomer for a crucial role? Or do what they should have done at the start of summer? Do they follow simple cricket logic and pick their best batsman at number 3, which is what international teams have done since time immemorial? Does head coach Trevor Bayliss emerge from his preferred place in the shadows and insist on what he has already long said is best for England? Does he use all his intelligence and cricket experience to persuade his captain to move up from number 4 to number 3 in the batting order in the best interests of the team? Does Joe Root open his ears? Does the young England skipper lose his intransigence and accept that the urgency of the situation requires flexibility rather than selfish intransigence? Does Root ask himself the most obvious question? Who would Australia prefer to be walking to the crease when England have lost their first wicket in an Ashes Test, one of the finest batsmen in the world, or a player severely nervous about his place in the side? If he does that, the conundrum melts away, and Root makes the boldest statement of intent for the Ashes. If he doesn't, the conundrum was there at the start of the summer of 2017. Before the first Test, the serious conversation with Bayliss revolved around the top of a batting order for an England team otherwise blessed with a brilliant clutch of all-rounders and 2 fast bowlers with almost 900 Test wickets between them. Bayliss was clear in his personal view. He said publicly, without equivocation, he thought Root should bat at number 3. Everything else would flow from that. Root demurred. He insisted on number 4. Even though he had batted with more than enough distinction at number 3 in the past. The head coach decided not to press the point to a new captain finding his feet in an immensely challenging role, and a summer of instability in England's top-order batting was the consequence. Perhaps it was the correct decision back then, but it will not be this winter. Root is embedded now as the skipper, and the reality is that he has already batted effectively as a number 3 in almost every Test innings of the summer, arriving early at the crease. And he scored at least a half-century in every match apart from the final game of the West Indies series. You have to imagine that this plain truth about the England cricket team is being debated behind the scenes by those with responsibility for selection and strategy. How could it not be? In recent days, one of the greatest England cricket captains, Mike Brearley, has been reflecting about his career. His greatest regret, he has said in interviews, was a stubborn nature and failing to heed good advice. It seems to me that is exactly where Joe Root stands right now, possessed of a naturally stubborn instinct that number 4 in the batting order suits him best personally in a perfect world, but hearing so many voices telling him that number 3 is the wise compromise. Is he listening? Many new books with a sporting theme are tumbling onto the shelves, but I doubt that any will be superior to an illuminating and comprehensive biography of Sir Matt Busby by the irrepressible football sage Patrick Barclay. From his roots in the tough mining areas of Scotland in the early 20th century through his friendships with great men of the game like Bill Shankly, Bob Paisley, and Stan Cullis, to the creation of 3 majestic Manchester United teams, the story of Busby's life and work is captivating. Due recognition is also paid to the importance of Busby's long-term assistant Jimmy Murphy and the triumphs enjoyed by United. Then there is the Munich disaster. The events and the emotions are recounted with haunting eloquence by Barclay, a master of his craft. Sir Matt Busby, The Definitive Biography, PBA Barry Press, £20. The path to the World Cup finals for countries in Europe is clear to see. Win your group, as England shortly will, and you're there. Finish second and you go to a playoff. It's rather different for some. Take the Aussies, who have struggled somewhat in the Asian qualifiers and now face the political and emotional drama of a two-legged home and away play-off against Syria, the nation ravaged by years of brutal civil war. Syria can't play at home, so their home leg will be staged in Malaysia in early October before the second game in Australia. Finished there? You bet not. The winners of that showdown then face a further home and away contest against the country that finishes fourth in the North and Central American qualifying section, which will be one of Panama, USA or Honduras. Yes, it could be Syria v USA for a place at the World Cup finals. Imagine that. Back at the start of the summer transfer window there was a cascade of comment about how smart Everton had been to buy a clutch of new players so early. It would give them time to gel in, and allow Ronald Koeman's team to be serious contenders this season. The rush to buy, and the rush to judgment, doesn't look so clever now.